Good morning, everyone. This is Michael O'Malley here with the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for September 14th, 2019, recorded around 7:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, we now have recently formed Tropical Storm Humberto that has formed overnight, and the latest recon pass that was in there did find a surface pressure of about 1,003 to 1,004 millibars, suggesting that this has undergone a little bit of strengthening overnight. But if we do look at the latest visible satellite imagery, you can see the center of circulation. The center of circulation is roughly in about here, still displaced from all of this convection further off to the east and also the southeast. There's been a big blow up of convection overnight with very deep convection surrounding places here in the southern Bahamas and the southern Bahamian region. And also to the north of the system, we've seen a little bit of shear that's been impacting Humberto over the last couple of hours, which has been pushing this deeper convection away from the actual center, which is somewhere in here. Regardless, this has undergone a little bit of strengthening overnight, and the latest recon pass does suggest that pressures are lowered just a little bit, but not a significant amount. There has been some, you can see some instances of stronger near tropical storm force winds right near the part of this convection over here. But again, not a lot going on with Humberto overnight, no significant strengthening overnight. This is the east coast of Florida right here. Granted, the albicos are right here, and Freeport and the Great Bahamian Island is right here. So a lot to watch here over the next coming days. Let's take a look at the Hurricane Center forecast for Humberto. This is expected to be a hurricane as it passes away from the United States, but could get pretty close here to Bermuda here within a couple of days. Tropical storm watches have been discontinued for the east coast of Florida. At this time, we do not have any watches for portions of Florida, Georgia, or South Carolina at this time. But it is important to note that people in the east coast of Florida should still monitor the progress of Humberto. Again, this track is not exclusively locked in yet, as anything to be locked in, it has to be occurring, basically. So, we're not expecting any significant impacts besides swell. There will be a couple of swells and rip currents radiating out, especially when this becomes a hurricane. Further to the north across, Cape Fear, Cape Hatteras, even into South Carolina, and even into portions of Florida, there could be some rip currents and swells that radiate out even further towards the north as Humberto eventually makes its turn out and away from land. Again, could get pretty close to Bermuda, so we'll have to watch for friends in Bermuda. The other thing is, this is the tropical storm force wind region out to about 90 miles from the center, and you can see portions here near the islands here that were ravaged by Hurricane Dorian, the Albacos here, Marsh Harbor, experiencing near tropical storm force sustained winds at 40 miles per hour or 34 knots. So, and this will definitely hinder the recovery efforts down here for people who are still recovering from Hurricane Dorian. Obviously, again, the center of circulation is somewhere in about here. We go to the latest WRF model, and again, the WRF model was pretty good in predicting about 1,000 millibars. That's 1,003, so just slightly higher, about 3 millibars off at this time. And you can see over the next few days, Humberto will strengthen and move comfortably, hopefully, away from the Florida East Coast and away from the islands that were ravaged there by Hurricane Dorian. So, to contrast that with the Harmon is certainly a little bit weaker and a little further towards the west at this point, but nothing significant for the Florida East Coast for sure, as this will hopefully continue to be steered away and out into the open Atlantic with no threats to land. One other thing to keep an eye on is we also have this upper level low here in the Gulf of Mexico that is imparting a little bit of shear on Tropical Storm Humberto. And if enough convection can sustain around that area, it might erode the upper level low and become a warm core surface low, and might have a chance for development here somewhere near Texas and Louisiana, currently only given a 20% chance of development here over the next 5 days. We are watching 96L with a 20% chance of development over the next 5 days. What will be 97L with a 60% chance over the next 7 or 5 days as it moves towards the islands, and what might be 98L right now also has a chance for development as it moves generally towards the west-northwest. So a lot of congregation here in the main development region, and the reason because of that is there's a lot of small-scale transient features, but one of these or two of these systems should become named storms, I do believe. And we'll have to watch for our friends here, obviously in the islands, Barbados and the Lesser Antilles. Tropical storm Humberto, again, a little bit of shear being imparted on it, and you can see that here in the visible satellite. There is a little bit of shear being imparted on this. Again, we'll have to watch for our friends here in Marsh Harbor, great out in the Albacos here, and even Freeport. And again, for the Florida East Coast is right here. Not expecting any significant impacts to Florida at this current time, as Humberto should be steered away from the United States as it finds a weakness in the ridge of high pressure, and should allow that to continue to move further off to the northeast. So there's a lot to watch here over the next coming days here. I will have another video discussion out later this morning, probably by the 11 o'clock advisory, to go over the latest information regarding Humberto. Again, right now a disorganized mess, and we are watching for any more center reformations that might occur further to the east or down in this deeper convection. Right now the latest recon pass again was about 1,003 millibars, so it does indicate a little bit more strengthening going on with Humberto. We will see what the recon finds as it continues its pass. That's going to be it for me right now. I will be back here with a later discussion concerning Tropical Storm Humberto and its impacts around the 11 o'clock advisory. Have a good rest of your morning.